Good evening, all, and welcome to the newest episode of Midweek Mix-Up Podcast. Today, we will be joined by Erwin a little bit later. By later, I mean about 10-15 minutes tops. But we will go through our basic intros. The topics for today are discussing the Forza Horizon 5 preview impressions from some of the lucky influencers and creators throughout the community, as well as the press, who had the chance to get their hands on not even an early build, but a preview build of Forza Horizon 5, which was limited to certain sections. And a certain amount of vehicles. We will also get into the more recent Jim Ryan PlayStation interview, where he discussed where he wanted the PlayStation brand to go going forward, and what he wanted for them. And last but not least, we will be discussing Xbox could potentially have 4 critical hits in 2021, turning into potentially what would have been a slow start of the generation to a very impressive turnaround to end the first full year of the console's life cycle. Before we do any of that, however, of course, we will be getting into our introductions. Of course, today we've been blessed, thankfully, by some awesome preview images, some screenshots that you won't have seen before, courtesy of Don Juan Song. Of course, a sim racing and Forza influencer on YouTube. If you haven't already seen him, you need to. He is absolutely insane on some of his videos. Really, I've just noticed my audio is not on. I've been talking away for ages.
Oh,
Good
really?
stuff. Yeah. Oh, is it? No, it is. It's actually on. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Great.
just wanted to say it's on.
Weird. Anyway.
Nobody yet mentioned it, so I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
nobody mentioned it. Just the audio bar wasn't going, but it was actually working fine. Anyway, so yes, if you haven't already seen his work, definitely check it out. He does some awesome stunt kind of videos, really high production Forza videos. So we've got a direct quote from himself to discuss his first impressions, or his impressions as to why Forza Horizon 5 is potentially the best in the series so far. Not only that, but potentially one of the best arcade racers ever. We will get into our introductions first, though. First and foremost, Pat, how are you doing today, brother? What you been up to? What you've been playing?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Work as usual, of course. Been dealing with a little bit of a headache the last hour or something, but you know, cannot miss this show. And what I've been playing yesterday, played Back for Blood with you and Sean and his brother. Pretty awesome game. Enjoyed it. Definitely gonna play it more. That's for sure. Um, but yeah, that I think that's about it. I didn't play that much lately, so yeah, I'm all good, man.
Sweet,
Yeah,
good stuff, good stuff. And I know you're painkillered up to the eyeballs like me.
yeah. At this moment, yes.
Awesome stuff. We'll battle on through. We will battle on through. Shomberlon, how are you doing today, brother? What you been up to? What you been playing? I know it's probably a silly question. Back for Blood and uni work. Am I right?
No, I've got a reading week this week, so
Ooh.
I've not done any reading. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take a couple of days and just chill out. So
Read.
I've not even done much reading. I'm going to be doing. I'll start tomorrow. Just go over some of the old stuff that I was looking at the beginning of the semester. I've done a lot of listening though. I've almost to the end of. I've got an hour left of Fall of Reach. So I've almost done that. I'll probably finish that tomorrow, and then I will see. I don't know which book to read to Audible next. I don't know. Playing wise, I didn't do much on Saturday, but I did do a big Halo marathon, and I went through Halo 1 and Legendary with a friend.
Nice.
So I did that, and then I've been playing pretty much Back for Blood I think they're the two main things that I've done.
Awesome.
With a little bit of Overcooked thrown in there just to get a couple of the monthly challenges for.
See, I've never actually played Overcooked. Is it worth even just playing for the challenges?
You know what? It's probably worth, but I had a lot of fun with it. With a friend, it's better with friends. It's hard to do on your own because it's like you've got to do two things at once.
Yeah.
So you've got to be pretty well organized and know what you're doing and whatnot.
Yeah.
But with two people, maybe more, because I think you can have up to 4. You can delegate, right? You're washing up, you're doing this, you're chopping that, you're doing the pasta or the rice. So yeah, it's good fun. It is good fun.
Sweet. Nice one. And Vin, I know you've been working, brother, but obviously when you haven't been working, you have been playing games. So what have you been up to?
I've been, this is going to be my Ben again, but I've been playing a lot of FIFA 22.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good. So it's actually, it's a good FIFA this time. It's more like 17, so I'm really enjoying that. And I got my Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania in. It's really good. It's the best Super Monkey Ball yet.
Yeah, right.
And I was really enjoying that game, man. It's really good. And yesterday I tried Back for Blood as well. I only did one mission because I had to go to night shift. But it's really fun. It looks really good. As I said to you on the pre-show, the zombies look like the zombies from Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying it. So I can't wait to play more of that. And that's about it, I think. Yeah, I did the Gamepass quest and stuff like Shomberlon said, Overcooked and what's it called? Max and the Brotherhood or something that where you have to save your brother.
Max and the Curse of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, but that game I played it all through, and I think I only need 2 more achievements and then I have it 100%.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that game so much. Yeah.
I have the same now because I only wanted to do it for the Game Pass quest, but now I'm stuck in. Every time I'm playing a couple of levels, it's really fun. With the marker and you have to draw all these vines and what's the name called? The rocks and stuff. It's actually a pretty fun game. So
it's a pretty fun game, exactly.
Yeah. So I did that. And it's easy achievements. So if I have like an hour a day to game, and I still need to do my reward challenge, for achievement a day for the reward points. Yeah, I just start up Max in the Curse of the Brotherhood, and then at least I get one achievement. So
yeah,
my streak is still going, so I'm happy. So that's about it. But mostly FIFA, to be honest. Yeah, I know timeout. I know.
Yeah, it's all right. It's fine. Archie's not here to tell you to go away, so you're all right today.
What have you been playing through?
I haven't really been playing too much, to be honest. I tried Back for Blood yesterday for a bit when I was trying to kind of. It's the first time I'd actually gamed in a few days with migraines and feeling pretty shitty altogether, and still, as you can see, got glasses on today, so still not 100%. But battling through, painkillered up to the eyeballs, but Back for Blood, a little bit of that. But that's quite fun, of course, with both Pat Sharman and his brother, I do believe, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And his brother, which was awesome. So that was cool. Did quite a few missions of Act 1, which is surprisingly long. I didn't expect it to be that long.
It's a very long act.
Yeah, it was a really long act. Yeah. We were halfway, right?
Something
just
like
over
that.
halfway. Just over.
And I
halfway.
had the feeling that we already at Act 3 or something.
Yeah, that's what it felt
That's
like.
the feeling that I had. Yeah.
Oh, so Shomberlon wasn't kidding about the length of the act.
No,
No, not at all.
really long. I thought when people were saying that the acts were short, I was like, oh, well, that's just a normal like Left 4 Dead. Like they're not normally that long. And then started playing this, and like Act 1 just goes on forever. I was like, I feel like I've never finished Act 1. But no, it's cool. Gunplay is cool.
Yeah.
The bosses are cool. The enemies are cool. Mini bosses are cool. Card systems quite decent.
The only thing I don't like about, and I said when we were playing, is the I don't like the sound in it.
Yes, yeah, we all agreed on that.
Yeah.
It just sounds like everything is around you rather than to be able to locate things. So you hear like some of the special zombies, and you can't really pinpoint exactly where they are.
Yeah,
which I was a little bit disappointed with. I was hoping that you'd be able to kind of go, right, well, roughly round this corner or over here or over there in that direction is the zombie, whereas it sounds like it's just all around you.
So you make me so happy now, Sean, because I thought it was me.
No, you can't hear anything.
No,
really
okay, so thank
you
God.
know that
Like, how the hell am I not hearing where it is?
You know the part where you need to save the people that are like stuck inside the building. I had that moment that I was walking into the bedroom and it sounded like this guy was right next to me, but he was actually two levels
2 floors up. Yeah,
he was 2 floors up, and he was sounding like he was in my room. I was like, okay. And then
I was running around going, "Where is he? I can't see him."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's
we were doing that for a good 5 minutes because every time we heard something, we're like, "Uh-oh, weather." And then it builds another problem because then you get so used to the fact that you can't actually tell where anything is because the audio's shit that you think like bosses are miles away, and then all of a sudden they're like right on your face. You're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that is really, and we all agreed on that same gripe for everybody. Everyone said the same thing. It felt like you couldn't pinpoint where any of the audio was, and it felt like you were always surrounded by enemies, even though you weren't. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. I think what we'll do before we get here, because I know Erwin will want to discuss the Forza topic and everything, we will dive into the least attractive topic first. We will talk about Jim Ryan's PlayStation strategy. So Jim Ryan had an interview in the last couple of week or so, that is obviously made the rounds. And in that particular interview, of course, it kind of discussed his backstory with PlayStation, some of the things that have kind of went on over the years, and what PlayStation bigwigs have told him to do. So when he first started and he was in charge of kind of PlayStation Europe, he was told to kind of sort them out and get them into a better place because they weren't doing too well. Obviously, that was a historical quote that a lot of people have taken out of context, but that was essentially wrapping it up all into one. When he first started, he was in charge of Europe. They weren't doing too great, so he wanted to make them into a powerhouse. So he was told to get the business in order and make them better. Of course, now the quote that is going around and will be discussed right now is, of course, something that a lot of people have been debating. Oh, here he is.
Oh, what's up, Harry?
How's it going? How is it going?
Well, not too bad, to be fair. Yeah, not too bad, to be honest.
Have you had a chance to play any games recently, or have you been too busy with work?
No, I actually played some Forza Motorsport yesterday to do some rivals events. Forza Motorsport 7.
Huh?
I don't know which other game you are talking about. No, Forza Motorsport 7 was a rivals mode on the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, with the Honda Civic, and I saw some people posted their times, so I thought let's give it a go on my Wii, and it was actually pretty decent. So I was in the top 50 of Europe and the top 100 in the whole world. So it's not too shabby.
That's it.
Yeah, at the moment, yes.
I expect more from you.
Yeah, no, me as well, but I'm getting a little bit older, mate.
Little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Good stuff. Have you managed to? I know it's been a while since we've spoke about it, but have you managed to sort your laptop yet, or is that still ongoing?
No, it's just I'm using my work laptop now, so that's why I'm not recording any videos. Also, because my laptop was broken down. The screen was damaged, heavily damaged. So we called insurance, and the insurance said, "Yeah, this is on your own risk. That amount of money that you need to pay for repairs." So we went to the Media Markt today to have the repair, but then they said, "Yeah, you need to delete everything because of privacy reasons." So we were like, "Oh shit!" So we're going to first delete everything. Now we're gonna send the laptop back to Media Markt. Then they're gonna see how much it costs. Then we need to put insurance, etc., etc., etc. So one big shite, and I cannot record any videos on my work laptop because I don't have HD Movie Maker Pro and whatever. So I am kind of lost with making videos, and I hear pet typing on the background.
No. You have to reach. We have Professor Dutch. Look at the chat.
Professor, yeah, with his glasses. Yeah. Looking good, brother.
Pongsel.
Cheers, Pong.
Looking good.
I decided to go for the
Pong?
professional look today. I'll wear a tie next time. Never mind.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so
you can't see the tie with the beard. How can you see the tie?
A really big. Just make a really big knot, like one of them joke ties.
You can make a tie. You can make a tie out of your beard.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Volkshoik.
Oh dear me.
Oh
So
man,
yes.
it remembered me of the party that we were in, right when playing Halo. I watched the whole stream back that we did on Halo Infinite. Fuck man, that was super nice, huh?
Yeah, it was really fun. Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
hold on, I'm just opening YouTube as well. Oh, YouPorn, close it. Oh, YouPorn. Oh, oops.
Oh dear me. But yeah, so before we go into the main topic that Erwin will like tonight, which is obviously talking about Forza Horizon 5. We're starting off with Jim Ryan's. We're starting off with Jim Ryan's interview, where we discussed his where he wants PlayStation to be going forward, and of course the strategies that needs to have to get it there. And of course, it's something that obviously alludes very much to Phil Spencer's strategy on getting the games into more gamers' hands. And of course, one of the quotes and one of the main quotes that Jim Ryan come out with was, of course, it's great getting 10, 20 million copies sold for our first-party games, but I'd love to be in a position where that goes to 50, 60, 100, or hundreds of millions of people playing our games. And of course, there's only one real route to go down to get that. And of course, we've seen them position themselves into a place where they can look to press on and action that and get those games into more gamers' hands. Of course, with the acquisition of Nixxes, helping them port a lot of their games over to PC. They have now started to invest in more people to work on the cloud side and PS Now. So we know they're going to be kind of pushing on with doing more there. Shom, I'm going to start with you. First of all, obviously seeing these quotes come out of Jim Ryan's mouth, not only is it probably bittersweet for a lot of people who have been kind of, I wouldn't say defending Xbox's approach, but just really sitting back and saying, well, if from a business standpoint, if you just take your consumer head out of it for a second, take your fan head out for a second, from a business standpoint, it makes complete sense. What do you make of Jim Ryan's kind of interview / quotes this last kind of week or so?
I just think it, like you said, it's just people need to take their heads out of their asses, and just actually see that this is the way the industry is going.
Yeah.
You can kind of defend, you can kind of try and excuse and try and keep what they're trying to do, with this whole, we sell consoles, that's where the profit margins are. But we're in a completely different age than we were in the PS3. PS4, they did phenomenally well, PS4. But that's when the industry started to shift a little bit. So it just seems a bit odd how people are so willing to, I don't know, almost double down, even when you've got Jim Ryan saying this is what we're going to do. you'll still get people damage controlling, still doubling down.
Yeah.
And it just shows it's not particularly that the Microsoft way is the right way. It's the way they're going is the more profitable route.
Yeah, 100%.
And PlayStation could come along, and I think they'll do it differently, but they'll do things similarly, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they'll put their own spin on the same tactic.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to have a PlayStation Gamepass that's like for like. They can have their own spin, much like when they brought out PS Now, not PS Now, PS Plus. Sorry, PS Plus. That was their way of getting monthly subscribers, because they had the problem is that the online was free, so they couldn't charge for online. So they needed to come up with a better way. So I assume they're going to do something similar to that. I mean, it's disappointing that they don't seem to stick their first party games really into PS Now until they're like years and years and years into it. I mean, Last of Us 2 is now a year and a couple of months old, and it's in PS Plus, in PS Now at this moment, but for 3 months. It's just like, for me, that's not good enough.
Doesn't make sense. I don't see why. I mean, literally, I picked Last of Us 2 up on sale as a hard copy, and I don't normally buy hard copies, but the actual price of it was just ridiculously low, and it was just
£20, wasn't it?
£14.
£14. There you go.
£14. So that to an American, that's like $19 or something. So yeah, it's less than $20 for Last of Us 2 as a physical copy, and of course that's a no-brainer. I'm not the biggest of Last of Us fans, so when I seen it for that much, I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to play through it for £14. That's cheap.
Pongsol's leaving chat now. He's got a fan part 2.
The Last of Us 1 sucks, man. The Last of Us 2 rocks.
See, as well, like the good thing about this is the Last of Us series is it has its own divisive fan base. So you've got one section of the Last of Us fan base that loves number 1, and the other stuff love number 2, and they're like,
they're super toxic to one another, aren't they?
They really hate each other.
Erwin and Pong don't. Pong and Erwin don't agree.
It's the first thing we don't agree on, ping pong.
But yeah, so I mean, Erwin, what's your thoughts on the Jim Ryan quotes? Of course, we know it's Chris Grannell's best friend, and that's
what I wanted to mention. It's sad that Mr. Grannell is not here, but he has his phone number as well, his cell phone number. But I think it's a logical thing, and you see it already happening for a couple of years. Who would have thought that MLB The Show would be playable on an Xbox? Who would have thought that Horizon Zero Dawn would have been going to PC and many other titles as well? Mm-hmm. So the tendency, let's say, has been there for the last couple of years that games were going to other platforms like PC. And those are just tiny baby steps. And I think that is also the reason why the change of management was there. I think Sean Layden was more the really console type of guy, and Jim Ryan was really the guy to say, I want to grow big.
Did you accidentally say Jim lying? Or was it intentional?
No. No, but he is lying, but he's still going for the strategy, and that's what I don't like. Phil Spencer and the team, let's say Xbox, is just
transparent,
clear and out in the open, transparent to everybody. Okay, this is our strategy, and this is how we're going to do it. And Jim Ryan is not. Jim is like beyond generations, organic growth, all those kind of fucking bullshit, which I don't believe him anymore. And that's sad.
Buzzwords.
I think the strategy on itself is really nice. Because you're always limited to around 100 to 140 million consoles sold. Let's say for a PlayStation console. And that is nice and all, but that doesn't make, let's say, the whole business in entertainment is going to cost more and more. Development, people, whatever, right? Marketing, etc. So they need to expand massively. And how are you going to do that? To look for other markets, which can grow you bigger. And in the end, it doesn't matter where you play your game as long as you play it. And I think that is where they see where the future is going as well. And that is with all kind of digital entertainment, like Spotify or Netflix or Gamepass, or just release your games on PC. Why not release it day and date on PC when you have so many users where you can make money from, let's say, consumers? It's only logical that they will go that direction. It's a business. They don't really think about gamers anymore, maybe in the past, but it's all making money in that business and making more than the competition and making more than the year before. You need to prove yourself to investors, etc., etc., etc. So I think Jim Lyon is doing a good job. Although he's lying his fucking ass off to the community because they don't want to be fully transparent, but we all see where it's going, right? And we all like the accent of Jim Lyon because he's coming from the region from you, right? Or no?
Yeah.
From the fishbowl region.
He's from here.
But,
I didn't even realise he was from the north of England, but he is. Yeah, he's from
exactly.
from up north.
Up north. But no, but I think he doesn't, and I think I have a little bit more, let's say, respect. Maybe not respect is not really the right word, but he was saying that he was not really comfortable at all coming before cameras and also doing interviews, etc., because he never done that in the roles he was in. So he said he was not really comfortable doing that, and he said he learned now a little bit, and that's why he's also really shitty before a camera or saying really stupid things to get himself in trouble, right? And that's only where he needs to learn, but he actually acknowledged that also in that interview, and I think he got some respect from my side, but he's still Jim Lyon, and
there's a difference between being nervous and saying we believe in generations. That's,
I know. Right?
It's like
I know, but you know what I mean, right?
I think
no.
That was an intentional fib that he told because he knew for a fact, and I think Xbox knew it too, but they just decided not to say it because it was pointless. They knew they needed to ship. Both of these needed to ship consoles, but Xbox weren't focused on getting as many Series X's sold. Like, they weren't hard pressed on it because they had a different strategy. PlayStation's strategy going into this generation was we need to sell as many of these PlayStation 5s as possible, and the only way we're going to do that is to tell everybody that you can only play these games on PlayStation 5. Of course, that transpired because of their shortages of stock, and granted, they're still outpacing previous generation so far, but because of stock shortages, they've had to retract on everything that they've said. And just
but look at Ratchet & Clank. How many sold that? Look at Returnal. How much sold that? Probably Kina also not selling really that much.
Yeah.
But they invest so much money, especially like Ratchet & Clank as well. It's just a AAA title, which costs you a couple tens of millions of dollars to make, or euros. So they need to earn that back. And they see now also only with a PS5 with 10 million user install base, you will never sell 10 million copies of that. That's an illusion. Only maybe 10% of your user base in general, or 20 maybe, later down the line, will buy those exclusive titles. And they see that, and they know they need to expand to cover those costs, especially at the beginning of the generation. And that's why you normally see the heavy hitters in a normal console generation, unless you go bigger. So you go to PC, you're going to mobile, you're going to a subscription service or whatever. And then you can release titles no matter when, because you always have a guaranteed amount of players that will play your title, buy your merch, or how do you say, buy your DLC or whatever that's in the game.
Yeah.
And they know, and they need to have a different strategy, which is completely different compared to the PS4 was launching, right? The hard box, and look where we are now with so many things being on multiple platforms, man. It's amazing as a PlayStation player, but they are slowly but steadily getting the message out there to their hardcore fan base, because they ridicule the Xbox fan base for believing in their strategy, right? So they will never, or at least at some point they will, when they see Sony as having a good strategy behind it, then they say, yeah, man, this is the best thing since sliced bread, right? That Jim Lyon created. So
completely agree. To be it's like you said, I think that's a good way of putting it, to be honest. The fact that they're slowly trying to get their fans used to it. As opposed to, and by this we say PlayStation fans, You've got to think of that as more of the hardcore side of PlayStation, because the vast majority, and I think everybody knows this by now, but the vast majority of casual console players are PlayStation. It is a casual console. There's a casual console fan base, but it always has been. Like we mentioned this previously, but if you mention PlayStation, like the vast majority of people's parents and things know what a PlayStation is, because they spent kind of a lot of their younger days buying a PlayStation for the kids and things. So whenever you say I'm going to be playing on the Xbox, they normally just go over what's that, a PlayStation or a Nintendo? And it's like, well, obviously not. It's like,
yes.
But
and also, Drew, they see the success of Gamepass. I mean, the Take-Two guy was on the show, and for sure, it's probably not around, or it's maybe not 30 million yet, but it gives an indication, even if it's 25 million, they look at such things as well, right? At competition, and they think like, okay, so you have 25 million subscribers every month. For maybe an average amount of money, let's say about 750, because you have discounts and whatever.
Yeah.
Make 25 million times 7.5. Fucking hell, every month, eh? Look how much that is on a year basis, because that's the whole clue behind it. So they make fucking much money, not buying hard copies, but selling the subscription on a monthly basis. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's insane. It's exactly what it is. It is. Look how much money, and people have got to be stupid to think that the Sony execs, Jim Ryan and all of his bosses, don't look at what Xbox are doing and go, that's actually a really smart strategy. We just need to do things a little bit differently. Like we need to, like Shom was mentioning, we need to put our own spin on it. So I still can't picture, if they do go down that route, I don't think they will do a day and date for console. I think I can see them doing day and date launch on PC and console, but I can't see them doing a day and date launch into a service for console. So, like Xbox do for Game Pass, I can't see PlayStation doing that. I think they still want to very much push sales on their platform, like as a priority, as opposed to user base.
If they have the user base, if they have 20 million subscribing to PS Now, then I can imagine it. But they've got, what is it, 2.5, 3 million?
Exactly. Yeah, they need to build it slowly.
Wow.
But how do you get your games? Let's say, how do you get your subscriptions?
Well, it's chicken and the egg, isn't it?
I think they could probably. I think what they could potentially do, and this is just my perspective, of course, they could put them on day and date. It depends on whether or not they want to take that risk, because after all, they don't believe that they're going to receive a return of investment. But they will do, because of course, the more people get into your service, then you end up with that money regardless anyway. And this is what they'll end up saying: you're going to get that money back sharpish when those user base goes up. But what I think they could end up doing is just saying, right, okay, out of our top releasing titles this year, say PlayStation had 4 first-party titles in a year, right, these are our 2 mega hits. These aren't what we class as our pinnacles for this year, but they're still big first-party games. We'll release these 2 as day and date, and these 2 will just be, that will go in 2-3 months after. So they'll get the big sales for the big titles, for instance, like your God of War and your Horizon, and then other smaller, maybe new IPs, put them in day and date.
Yeah. But you need to draw in the people into the subscription model, and that you only do by big heavy titles.
Yeah.
And they think also, okay, so we can only do, let's say, €70 a hard copy, let's say, unless they have somebody that has subscribed the whole year for 120. I mean, that's the easy calculation.
Yeah.
And of course, that's $70 or a couple games that they buy for sure. But it's not guaranteed, let's say, throughout the year. And with a subscription model, let's say, for many years, people subscribe, they don't think about it, they will run for a couple of years for a full subscription service. So it's just a different approach and a different strategy. And Sony is not crazy. Yeah? I mean, they can be old-fashioned at times, but they are there for your money, man. If it's a remaster or hiring the price from €60 to €70 or whatever to 90 even, they are there for your money. And one way or the other, they will go for it. And they see that the world is let's say, building around subscription services all the time. So, man, it just takes a amount of time. And I think maybe, let you say, like from the 4 games to a release day and date. But I can see PC games, or PlayStation games to PC. I can see that being day and date quite early. To be fair.
Yeah, 100%. And because there is no drawback, that's not something that's going. Because let's face it, and people need to wrap their head around this. To be able to play some of these newer PC games, you're going to have a PC that's at least anywhere between £900 and £1,000 to be able to get something that is worth playing in comparison to a console. So you're not, like, putting a game onto PC in the first place isn't just a case of, oh, well, that's taken away from us, because it isn't. Because you're not going to get the equivalent PC performance for the price that you get in the console that you're buying. So it's not going to take away from the console base, because the console base are spending $500 on a console. The PC base, to get the same performance, are having to spend double that. So you're not getting the same types of users, so it's not detracting from it. All it's doing is expanding it, so you're just getting a bigger market.
Customers.
Yeah,
different customers. Both gamers, but different customers. Wider group, wider audience, wider range of age maybe as well. So it's just smart business. And how do you get more sales, attract bigger markets? That's where it is.
And dedicated PC players aren't going to be, especially now that they've started to trickle onto PC, they're not going to go, well, you know what? I really need to play the next God of War. I'm going to go buy a PlayStation. They'll go, well, I've got like 1 million other games to play.
Yeah. It's the largest. It's like the largest game store in the world. PC. It's got literally.
People kind of go, PC has no exclusives. It's like you don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, you've got hundreds of exclusives.
And it's also the biggest user base, right? I mean, if they release it only on PS5, they now have 10 million users, let's say, or maybe a little bit more. But if you release on PC, the amount of people that can buy your game is already like, what is it? 250 million or whatever, right? 500 million. So, I mean, that's the whole thing. So you only need a really small percentage of, let's say, that 500 million to get already enormous sales on that part. Plus, then you take your PS5 players. Man, plus is plus.
Look at Sea of Thieves. We had 11 million players on Xbox, and then it came to PC. And what was it? Like in 2 months, we had like 30 million players on Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
it tripled in 2 months' time.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for PlayStation to put their things onto a PC day and date, because you surf on the hype of the new game coming out. If you do like you do with Death Stranding, it's like, it will sell, but the hype's gone. It's lost a lot of the hype. It's kind of, we've seen this before in terms of what they show to say, this is the new PC version. It's like it's the same gameplay, and if they haven't kind of bought into it, then you're not going to suddenly convert somebody. The PC players already decided whether they're going to buy it or not, because it came out quite early on. It was going to PC, wasn't it? A couple of months afterwards.
Yeah, quite early on.
So if you can surf on the hype and then not have to almost relaunch and spend more re-advertising as well.
And you tend to find as well, in terms of PC players, because they, let's say, a lot of them, especially the hardcore PC players, are specs whores. They like to have things, the highest frame rates, the best quality graphics, all of the bells and whistles. We're talking about the proper PC enthusiasts. Those people. Yes, RGB. I think you've got the same keyboard as me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But no, the hardcore PC enthusiasts, nice, are those that are willing to wait for that version to come out on PC. They don't care whether or not it's like 3 months, 6 months later. They want to play it in its best version. They know, coming from PlayStation 5 to PC, once that PC one's been optimized correctly, it's going to be the best version of that game. I mean, obviously we know that as well with Xbox games. Like, the best place to play it is Series X, unless you've got a PC, the highest spec PC, in which case that will be the best place to play the Xbox games. In terms of frames per second, in terms of quality graphics and potential other bells and whistles you get with it. Before I get into both kind of, should we say, lesser PlayStation players, but still PlayStation, people who have played PlayStation games, or maybe he's not even done that, a quote from Pong in the chat here, and it's obviously very relevant. The old model only works if you have an attach rate like Nintendo of 20% plus, and you have low production costs. Sony has to adapt or die to the new model in the industry. And I agree. There's nobody. Both Xbox and PlayStation aren't in the same. Should we say in the same console ballpark as Nintendo? Nintendo rely. They don't even just rely. Nintendo literally live off first party. Like,
Yeah.
unlike any other console platform, that is first party sells best on Nintendo. Third party doesn't get a look in. It doesn't even come close. You release a third party game on Nintendo and it'll sell okay. It'll do all right. But their attach rate for first party games are like 25, 30, 40, 50%. Which is like a 1 in 2 sale. For every one console, you've got a game sold. I think like Mario Kart now is sitting at something like 40-something million units sold on like Wii U and Switch. It's insane.
And it never goes on sale, the games. That's crazy.
No, they
with
never go on
Nintendo.
sale, yeah. They're still
No,
all
never,
full
yeah.
price.
It's crazy.
Still all full
but
price. But
I
they've
just
got like
enjoyed
they've got about maybe 8, 9 first party titles now that are above 30 million sales.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. And
And is that worldwide or?
yeah, that's worldwide. 30 million units and 90 million consoles, so it's a 1 in 3. So for every basically for every 3 Nintendo Switches sold, there's a first party title on each of them.
Yeah, but I think like Animal Crossing is now the number 1 game for Nintendo Switch. It's crazy, man. It's 15 million, so more than half the user base have Animal Crossing.
Oh,
It's insane, insane.
Don't underestimate also the merchandise, eh?
Oh,
Or the
God,
cards, or
Nintendo's
whatever.
Insane.
The amiibos, you know,
Yeah, exactly. It's
like Body Ash, you know, with Metroid Dread, amiibo stuff. It's crazy.
So that they do very well. They even have an entertainment park now, also in Japan.
Yeah.
Yes, they
which
do. Yeah,
is
Mario Land.
nice. Yeah, Mario Land. And also don't forget that they have dog shit cheap hardware that they will sell at a high price as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Mobile
will
hardware.
retain that price as well. So it's very cheap to produce, but really they sell at a really
Affordable,
expensive price. So they do a very good job on their own. And also, do you know that game released on the iPhone and also then Android, the Mario, what is it? What was it?
Run.
Yeah, Mario Run, right? How many people bought that fucking game as well? So they are exploring that part as well. So it's only a matter of time till everybody will have some kind of mobile stuff, because you have how many people that are on a mobile playing games? It's even having a higher turnover in general, right? All mobile games combined than the normal consoles.
Look at Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's millions of people fighting, you know, on streets. You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And you know what it is? That game's been going for years now as well, and it's still just as, if not more popular than it ever was.
I see sometimes people on the street.
If there's a Pokemon
I
hotspot,
still
how you
see
say
them
that?
here as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
In cars, you know,
Insane.
they park here. They're gonna park here, do some shit, and then drive along. It's crazy.
Maybe do some other shit where they need to pay as well.
Oh, then they have to go. They have to go in here, you know. Red light, Rotterdam.
It's just insane, isn't it? It's insane. Pat, you're not a major, obviously you're not a PlayStation player, but if and we have to do this on a hypothetical basis because you have to think outside the box as well. For someone who isn't gaming on PlayStation, but obviously sees the benefits of a service like Game Pass and the way that Microsoft do that, you mentioned yourself the other day that obviously when games go on sale on Xbox, you'll purchase them. Of course, that we're talking about third party. But in terms of Game Pass and what that's done for your wallet over the last, pretty much over the last 2 years, you've barely had to fork out for a game, if not ever. You haven't purchased or needed to purchase anything, So it saved you a small fortune on that side. So if Sony's going to end up going down the same route and kind of up their services and trying to explore these different options, is that going to be more likely for you to check out kind of some of PlayStation's options going forward?
Maybe, I don't know, because who knows? At this moment, I'm not very interested in PlayStation, as you guys know. So, but who knows? If I think the best thing for maybe PlayStation to do now is do something like what Game Pass is, I don't know. Maybe it comes in the future. Who knows? But it would be a great thing for PlayStation to do such a kind of thing, especially for the fan base and stuff. Because, like you guys said, they and what people also say in the chat, like the fan base, they're not treating them right. So yeah, it's difficult for them, I think, because if you also see now the major players that play on PlayStation, I think they're like from Asia, you know, and you like I see a lot of retweets from Erwin that a lot of people in Japan or buying a Series X now. So I think it's gonna be pretty difficult for PlayStation to be a
big player over there.
Yeah.
Well, I've
seeing
seen
seeing the players grow there.
Yeah, I've seen something very similar actually. There was a tweet that I seen from, and it wasn't the usual because we usually see that one Japanese girl that posts all the time and gets a lot of retweets by Xbox and things, but it wasn't her. It was a different person altogether. Mentioned the other day about Series S and Gamepass, and saying like it is flying off the shelves, and the value of Gamepass to the Japanese market is absolutely undeniable. Like it's literally winning over PlayStation gamers over in Japan because you just get so much for what you're paying, and like they can't believe in terms of cloud, being able to play on the cloud now over there. They're just like, oh no, you don't even need like an Xbox. You can just get Game Pass. And
wasn't it also that they already sold after 49 weeks as much as they did like in after 2 or 3 years or whatever?
4
was
years.
Right? 4 years. They already reached 100,000 consoles. That it normally took 4 years, and now they already took it at 49. And that is maybe baby steps still, if you compare it to Nintendo or whatever. But the amount of percentages, let's say, that you have your growth year on year, let's say, is enormously. And mobile gaming, let's say cloud gaming, is huge in Japan. And you already saw pictures, let's say, with people having their PlayStation controller on their little laptop or a telephone and then playing xCloud, man. It's such a ridiculously good strategy for at least that part as well. But seems that the Series S, because it's super tiny, it's super cute with the Game Pass included, people seems to be very interested in that, let's say, setup as well, which is quite interesting. So maybe Xbox can finally have some, let's say, growth over there. And they said they also going to have 100 indie developers, or what was it?
200
working, or 200 even developers that are working on games specifically, let's say, focused on that market. So let's see. Maybe it's nice to see a change for Microsoft as well.
It's also good, for us, like Drew and me, we like JRPGs and stuff, But if the growth is there, maybe we finally get some a new Lost Odyssey, a Blue Dragon, maybe finish Skillbound and stuff like that, If the growth continues,
you're gonna die. You're gonna die on that hill, aren't you, Vin? You're gonna die on that hill.
No, but I just mean, that those type of games,
something like it.
Those type of games, I mean, if fill more of those games into Game Pass, and more Japanese people come in, or not just Japan, the entire of Asia. I mean, like South Korea is a big market as well, Make a Squid Game game, and it sells,
Squid Game.
Squid Game, whatever you want. we can make Squid.
I don't know that game.
Forza is asking to be beta tester.
I'm doing the alpha then, yeah? You can do the beta, Steve.
Go first. Always go first.
But,
you can stick it in my dicky.
Obviously, going forward, we would like to see for everybody, because obviously competition breeds competition, and it's only good for the community as a wider whole. So obviously, we want PlayStation to counter what Xbox are putting out, and of course, they've got their first party, should we say, AAA titles nailed down and nailed to the mass. Their quality is undeniable. No one's ever going to doubt that. Like, what they can produce from their first parties is really top notch. But they need more than just to rely on that, and I think they're starting to understand that. Like, yes, we've got amazing first party AAA titles, but that's one avenue. Like, we have to kind of widen this scale up a bit. So it's going to be interesting. This generation, of course, has only just begun, and I think midway through the gen, you'll start to see more of PlayStation's new strategy, and of course, see how it all kind of pans out. We will get into the next topic, however, and that is Forza Horizon 5 preview impressions and some exclusive new screenshots provided to us by our awesome friend Don Juan Song, who's also given us a quote regarding the game. Before we get into discussing that, however, we will show off these brand new screenshots on screen. So if everybody wants to enjoy the following little video we've put together with all the screenshots on, enjoy.
Holy hell. I don't like it, but it's great.
What?
And there
Look
we
at the
go.
font.
Chaps, that
What
was
the?
some new exclusive screenshots courtesy of Don Juan Song. What we have on here now, of course, as well, accompanying our impressions and our impressions of what we've seen so far of these early previews, is Don Juan Song's one of his newest videos there, with some new footage, new gameplay with the Sesto Elemento and other cars as well. So hope you enjoy that. Whilst we discuss it, he has provided a quote before we get into this discussion about what he thinks of the game so far. So before we get into that, I will read out that quote. So this is from Don Juan Song. First impressions of the new game are always important, regardless of the type of game you play. Playground games have always delivered on that concept by throwing you into the heart and soul of the game straight away, and you're always left wanting more. I skateboarded for 14 years, and I loved the fact that it was not a sport governed by rules or law. I could go outside, skate how I wanted, and where I wanted, with complete freedom over everything I did. It might sound like a weird comparison, but that's what Forza Horizon 5 is to me. The difference is this time around is immediately apparent, that the changes are to express pure fun. It's a racing game with the freedom and joy at its core. The new upgrade and customization is also a direct link to this. We now have the option to change every car to suit every specific circumstance the game offers, allowing even more freedom. Although I only got a taste of what the full game offers, I can already say with confidence that this is not only the best Horizon game to date, it could very well be the greatest arcade racing game ever made. Strong words, I know, but true.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for it. Shit.
So what
Yeah, man, it's
you've
crazy.
what we've all seen this week, of course, we've seen the likes of Colt Eastwood, Dealer Gaming, Don Juan Song, among many others, of course, get their hands on this game. Jez Corden, of course, from Windows Central, of course, put an article up as well, which pretty much rang the same type of quotes that Don was going with, and that it is a beautiful game inside and out, and it is very much an evolution for the better on all fronts, and pretty much one of the best racing games ever. Erwin, I know obviously you've probably been dying to make more videos recently about some of the stuff that's been coming out, and I know the last Forza Horizon weekly show or monthly show that they do is on Monday, so that's the last bit of information we're going to get before it goes live next month. But from what you've seen over the recent weeks and then these previews, what are your thoughts immediately on this?
Well, you might be surprised, but I am quite skeptical, to be fair. Of course, it looks enormously beautiful and detailed, and the world looks very good, and you have sandstorms and whatnot. You have body kits. So you have cool games. I will be 50 hours in photo mode 100%. I will be doing all the races and all the events.
Yeah.
But there also comes the problem, I think. What I saw now also with the championship setups or the events, let's say, with all those little icons on the map, it's the same as in 4 and in 3 and in 2 and in 1. I really hoped at least that we could have something differently or somehow, but I think the structure with coming all the events, let's say, and to get the 3 stars again on this, get the 3 stars on that, fly 100 meters again on that. We all did that. That is not really making me excited. What makes me excited is the beautiful graphics. Really, those are enormously nice. So that is very positive. But I watched also Colt Eastwood's video, and I have more or less the same feeling as him. I won't call it Forza Horizon 4.5, but I do wish that they had done something differently with the motorbikes, for example, or with the water boats, or with the airplanes, the Red Bull things.
Yeah.
Be a little bit more, let's say, out of your normal habit that Forza Horizon is really good at. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's really good at what it does, and it will be a 90 plus Metacritic, I know. But we are at part 5, and it's in the basic, it's just the same, more or less the same game, right? If they have done, let's say that you go out of your car and maybe you walk your guy to a garage and go into a paint booth or whatever, right? Just be a little bit more creative and give us a little bit more challenging. And like Paul was saying, the sound, etc., everything is top notch. Don't get me wrong, but it's hard to explain. I need to be a little bit more triggered about the game, and by not having all. Sorry,
you have to be invited.
No, but give me the same feeling, because you're playing practically more or less part 4 in an enormously beautiful world with enormous beautiful cars, with sandstorms and whatnot. You have different biomes, so you drive in a world that is completely changing every time you go through. That is all wonderful, but when you go to the events, like I said, you have 3 stars again on that highway. You need to jump again that way. You have barn fights again. I mean, how long are we doing the barn fights, guys? Okay, then you can take a truck yourself and put the car to your vehicle. I mean, that is the only change. So I am very enthusiastic, but on the other side, I want to be triggered more. I want to be challenged more, and
do you think
that's something of those parts what I'm missing?
Do you think some of the, should we say, their playground games, their live events that they've changed up a little bit with, instead of doing just the go over here and do skids and go over here and do jumps and go over here and do this, and they've changed it up and said, right, you've got to all kind of do all these Viva Pinata type things where you've got to go and pop this. And obviously they've mentioned that there's going to be more kinds of game modes in that sense as well. On top of course, then the not just the stadium, but of course the increased track editor features that they've put into it. Do you think that will potentially then add to what you're missing?
I'm not really a fan of the custom tracks, to be fair. You already had that in the previous parts. The blueprint maker, you can drive on all different kind of roads. It's nice. It's a really nice feature, and for sure the new mode will bring some challenges as well, which is, for example, in Dirt 5 as well. Did I play a hell lot of it in Dirt 5? No, because it's all kind of crazy jumps and whatever. I noticed that I'm more than the motorsport guy, or the Gran Turismo guy, or the Assetto Corsa.
Yeah,
I like it a little bit more realistic.
Racing.
Yeah, but I like the dirt. I like rally games as well. But if we are having the same basis again, go to that event. Become number 1 after 3 laps. Go and drive a couple kilometers to a different location. Do another 3 laps. It's from Horizon 1, let's say, or what is it? Every time you have the same setup in your career. And now you have some characters that are telling you bullshit. Yeah, I did this and did this. While you're racing, and then you are at the event. You start the event. You go. The AI is not that great. Even if you put it on the hardest mode, you become number 1. You go to another event. Go to that highway. You get 3 stars going 400 kilometers in a Koenigsegg. That's all the things that we did in the previous parts. That nothing has changed on that part. But the world that you're driving in is fantastic. So you maybe need to make it as a more open world. I think you need to make it more like an Test Driver Limited. Is that game, right?
Yeah.
Where you can have boats or whatever, or bikes. Make it a little bit more like that, I think. Or make it more as a surface kind of game, let's say, that is more like even more open world. But make us do something differently than we already did in part 4 and in part 3 and in part 2 and in part 1. And especially with all kinds of motorbikes or the Red Bull air races, right? Put something crazy like that. And the game is perfectly suited for extreme sports, let's say. And that's something that I'm missing, yeah. And I think we should delay because it's no-go. No, just joking. But so... I have really mixed feelings about the game. I like it. I like the improvements that they made with the body kits, etc. But it's just too much the same thing, only with a different palette, let's say, of colors and whatnot. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, personally, it could end up being as well that these are things that they take into consideration where they're just focusing on the next Forza installment where it's only on Series X. Potentially looking at the flying, potentially looking at boats or motorbikes and things like that included as well. I would imagine that's got a whole nother thing beside it. Of course, we know that just beforehand, I think it said they've teamed up with the Sobo to do like flyovers and flight sim over the locations in Forza. But it could be that they potentially look to work with them on the next iteration to figure out how to do more kind of simplistic flying mechanics to use in this game going forward. You don't want to do it overly complex like you would in Flight Sim. No. You want it to be more arcadey, but fun and relatively easy to handle, because the last racing flying games aren't going to be the easiest of thing to try and accomplish in something that feels quite natural and fun at the same time. Obviously, a lot of people could end up crashing. Again, motorbikes, that could be awesome, but then you'd be limited to, we can't really upgrade motorbikes to a point, so it'd be more just accumulating motorbikes. Boats,
But
of course, you could probably upgrade the engines and things, but they'd be limited. But of course, then it just opens up new areas and places to race.
exactly, you can do all the crazy stuff with that mode, that you put all kind of crazy jumps in the water as well, right? Make it like Wave Race that you had on the Nintendo 64 with water scooters, for example. That's also like really popular for Formula One drivers. You know, they live in Monaco, they go on the water scooters. Do something crazy like that. Just a little bit more. I just missed a little bit of innovation on the game. You know what I mean? Because what they do, it's already so good on such a high level, but you need to be
try and think outside the box.
Yeah, but there you go. Yeah,
but don't you think?
What can you know? It's car porn game, right? Forza. I mean, there's not. I don't think, you know, if you add motors or jet skis or airplanes and stuff. I'm not sure, man. Just keep it like it is.
Don't you like?
I'm really looking
like
forward
when
to Forza. You know, just driving around, enjoying the scenery, enjoying my racing. I mean, you're a real racing guy, right? I mean, I think you should expect more from motorsport than from Horizon.
Yeah, I do.
He's got very high expectations for motorsport.
Yeah, but you know, I think that don't change Horizon too much, man. Just leave it the way it is. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I'm not a professional race gamer like you. You know, I would say that. But you know, I enjoy Horizon just because of the simplicity. You know, pick a car, make it look fancy, drive around, enjoy the scenery, wreck some pinatas, do some jumps here. I enjoy it, man. But if you're gonna add airplanes and jet skis and stuff, it's gonna take the fun out of the basics. If you know, look at the Crew 2. You know, the Crew 1 was pretty decent, and then they went, okay, let's do airplanes and stuff. The Crew 2 was shit. It was uncontrollable. It was just, you know, fuck it.
No,
that's what I wanted to say.
That's my
Like,
opinion, right? So I think the
that's
Crew
what I
2 was
wanted to
really
say.
downgrade from 1.
That's what I wanted to say. Is like, okay, I agree and disagree with Erwin. You know, like they should do something different, but okay, maybe motorbikes are cool to add in the game, but if you like go with boats, airplanes, and that kind of stuff, you get more like Vincent says, is you get more like the Crew feeling, you know. And I don't think that's Horizon for me, you know.
I think
but like I said, I agree and disagree with
Pat,
Erwin.
Erwin. This is the first time, but I agree with Pat this time.
No, but you talked about simplicity in the game, and that perfectly fits you two guys. But no, just jokes. No, but I mean, you can
racing, yes. I
mean, but you can have fun. I mean, it's all about fun, you say. But you can have different kind of air races, right? Or you can have different kind of water scooter races on the water, right? But I just want something new, or else you just get a rare iteration of a game that releases every 2 or 3 years that is in the basis the same. So you're playing a FIFA or a Madden, or let's say, right? You want to be challenged, and some shooters do it differently by changing the way in which year you play, going back to World War II or whatever. But you always want to be challenged. And I have the feeling for me personally that if we're going to stick to this formula, which is really like almost near perfect, that I get, even if it's near perfect, I won't be challenged anymore. So I get bored after a while by changing every time or playing every time the same stuff. Well, I love taking pictures.
You're correct with that.
You mentioned FIFA now, right? FIFA's a perfect example. We had this, what's his name again?
Shit.
We had a couple parts where you had to be this one guy, you know, make a career or something. I forgot his name. But, you know, nobody played it. You know, every achievement, even like after 5 minutes, was rare. Nobody plays it. Now we have Volta, you know, there's some sort of FIFA Street lookalike thing. Nobody plays it. You know, I started it up and I got a rare achievement just for starting it up. Nobody plays it.
And that's how good the game is, right?
No, it's just, you know, you can innovate, you know, and add stuff to it. But, you know, FIFA is the same thing. FIFA is Ultimate Team and Pro Club.
I think personally for Forza Horizon, what they still haven't done that they should have done, and I still don't know why they haven't done, is a bit like Test Drive Unlimited, is being able to get out of your car, have when you buy these houses, because at the minute you're buying houses just for the sake of buying houses. Like,
Exactly.
they should have added, for instance, they could have expanded on that. Add the house, but then have a garage you can have your top 10 cars in, and you can walk around and open the doors, like physically go out and see people. Or when you go to car meets, physically get out of your car and walk around and go and take cars from
Car
and
culture.
that's the part that I agree with Erwin. You know, like get out of your car, like you said, like when you have a car meeting with all your friends, get out of your car, and you can look in first person to that person's car. That would be, that would be pretty crazy if they add something like that.
That's the type of thing I think the innovation it needs.
Wasn't that in Need for Speed to Run?
I don't know. I didn't play that.
No, didn't play that.
Gaz agrees with you in chat though, Erwin. But first of all, he said Erwin won't be happy until Forza Horizon is turn-based.
Some people say, you need to have a story or whatnot, right? Then you need to go and I made a comment on Twitter as well, then go play The Witcher or whatever, right? I mean, it doesn't have to have an enormous story, but I think this game is all about car culture, car porn, let's say, and what do we like? When we were younger as well, I had a really fancy car that I make really aggressive with body kits and etc. I went to a meeting, just meet up with people, talk, watch all the beautiful car, take pictures, and then go home. And that car culture, let's say, or just being triggered, let's say, a little bit more than we do now with the same formula, I would like to see changed. And I think change is then needed. And maybe if we go to Japan, maybe something completely different. But then again, if we go to Japan, to Tokyo, then you have a really nice surrounding around you and a really nice world. But if we go then again, okay, drive 2 kilometers to that track, you drive three laps, you win, go to the next one. Okay, go on to the Tokyo Bridge and drive 400 kilometers an hour. It's exactly the same thing, only then in a very beautiful country, of course.
Yeah.
So I really like, and maybe some people have other creative ideas. That's also very nice, maybe if people can share it. But even maybe after then part 5, maybe then I am just done with it. And not because I don't like it. I am just bored then with the same formula time and time again.
Yeah. But I think that's the one thing I'd like to see, and I'm really surprised they still haven't added it, is actual car meets. That's one thing I'd love to see. Just being able to and literally just set up a car meet with your friends, not just pull up beside each other, take a photo, and then go. Like being able to go there, like have a car, because you've got so much customization you can do in these cars now. And obviously in Don's quote that he gave us there, he said you can literally customize any car for any event, which means you can literally turn the Sesto Elemento into a proper off-road beast if you want to. Like, that is a possibility. And if that is the case, then going to car meets and showing off these wild cars that you've created, or all these fancy paint jobs and things, being able to get out of your car and walk around other people's, and they go and walk around and have a look at yours,
and talk also with an open lobby, where you can talk to each other, right? Like you do normally on the meet. How fucking amazing is it?
Yeah,
you've got these characters that you can now add. You can add these prosthetic limbs on for accessibility and obviously diversity and making sure people are included. Obviously for those kind of that have lost limbs, you've got all these features and things you can add on to all these characters. You've got all these outfits and things that you can wear, but you never see them. You see them in cutscenes. Like, what? Why don't you like put these? Make the most of all of these features you've added, and add this little feature where you can get out and have that car culture, like Erwin said, and everybody just add to it. I think that would be absolutely awesome. Pink slips would be actually really cool. One thing that I am glad they have added though in this one is the ability to gift cars.
Yes.
Great.
Gift cars?
Eventually, you can gift cars. So now, if I'm getting the same car 5 times on a wheel spin, I can just go, right, okay, well, I've got like 3 Sesto Elementos, so you have one, you have one. Like, you don't wait for one round.
Really?
Like
Oprah.
Yeah. Like Oprah Winfrey.
Like,
you all can
because I remember back in the days when you had like a duplicate of your car, and someone wanted to get this car. First, you needed to say, okay, I'm gonna put it I'm gonna put it for sale now for this price. Go all the way down, and then you can buy it for a lower price than it normally is. But this is actually cool, like that you can give cars to your mates. So.
And I think Gaz has got a good point actually. Pink slips would be awesome for a community game. Like, why not do pink slip races?
No, but also what he's mentioned, that those silly avatars come good to use. That's actually the case, because when you are having online races, I always laugh my ass off the end of the race about some people dancing like crazy, right? Because you can also do the emotes then in those car meetings, right? You laugh your ass off when somebody's dancing crazy or looking crazy, and then you can also communicate to each other. Hey man, you look really weird. What are you doing, man? Where you coming from? Or why you choose that car? Why you choose that rims? Whatever.
I'm from a carnival.
Yeah, no, but you just can have a really nice discussion. So it's really social as well, and I think that is also the car culture. You always, no matter where you're from, which color you are, which vagina, which penis you have, it doesn't matter. You like cars, and then you get in touch with each other, right? And I think that is something that they should maybe do something.
Exactly. Which penis do you have?
Let's say the child arm, you know.
For private chat, guys, please. We're talking about Forza Horizon, not each other's.
You have salt in your vagina, Pat.
Yeah.
Shom, you've been a little bit quiet on this topic so far. What are your thoughts on what you've seen of Forza Horizon so far in the previews and things like that? What would you like to see them kind of? I would imagine you're potentially on the same vein as the rest of us, actually. Like, yes, Forza Horizon looks beautiful, looks like it plays really well. We've got the same kind of modes and things that we're used to, but potentially still needs to innovate a bit more. What's your thoughts on that?
Meh.
Okay.
Greatest comment. Greatest comment.
I mean, yeah, I agree with what Erwin was saying, is that although it'll be a spectacular game, it is becoming not stale. I think stale would be the wrong word, but very samey. Like saying you go here, do the races, drive there, do the races, do your drifting, do your speed traps, do your jumps. And yeah, I think they need just to innovate a little bit more what's actually in the game. So I don't know. I don't know whether having it on past gen hinders them in any way. So maybe they'll do that when it comes to a next gen only version, that there'll be other things, but I can't see how being on a different gen would stop it, you know, having certain parameters for races or whatnot. But I would like to see motorbikes, quad bikes, or things like that. I don't think planes and water vehicles would be great, because I think it would just be a different feel to it. And it depends on whether the engine would actually be able to cope with waves or being in the air. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think everything that can be said has probably been covered to an extent. I think it maybe needs to be freshened up going forward. But again, there may be things in there that we just haven't seen yet, that we're not privy to. Even the previewers have only seen the beginning. Was it hour and a half?
Yeah.
So maybe there's some more surprises in there. Who knows?
Yeah. I think that's kind of put very well, actually. I think the one thing we want innovation. We don't want to take away from what they've done, because let's face it, as Erwin's mentioned already, it is already like the way it is already it is already pretty much perfect in most avenues of what they do. So it's a perfect open world racer. In terms of its graphical quality, you can't surpass it right now. It is the best looking, not only best looking racer, but of course the best looking open world racer that's ever been made. And I don't think that's disputed. It looks absolutely phenomenal. The level of detail they've got on such a grandiose scale is just second to none.
Gameplay as well. Gameplay, they nailed it. They even improved now wheel gameplay, what I heard and what I saw on videos as well, which is nice. So those things, let's say, are really nice. But I believe we need some innovation. And somebody in the chat says, it's now too late to change or whatever. No, that's bullshit. You can always change. Let's see what they did with God of War. They can also add kind of stuff. And why not? to make the game more challenging for different people. And maybe some people only played it since part 3. That's fine. But I played it already since part 1.
I think he mentions that the game is out in 4 weeks. I think that you can't change 5 anymore.
No, but going to the Forza Horizon 6, let's say. Then they take some time, or even 4 years.
Like Gaz is saying in the chat there, he's saying exactly the same thing. He says this game can afford to get away with it, but the next one needs to change.
Exactly.
Yeah. What I'd like going forward is just a Forza Horizon, and then you then have Forza Horizon Mexico, Forza Horizon Italy, Forza Horizon Tokyo, but it's kind of like, it's almost like with how Halo Infinite is, and you just build on it and you keep building, so you can go to and from each one. So it keeps the same engine. If the engine gets updated, the old game gets updated, and you can take. I mean, it probably won't be able to do due to licensing, but being able to take the car you've got in Forza Horizon, say Tokyo, and take to Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you mean. Yeah. Like a 10-year plan.
Kind of, yeah. Where you can do things in different games and go visit different things. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe just that's basically what you do. Maybe just like having it as a portal, like having the Forza Horizon as a hub, and then you go off to whatever you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. But also, the DLCs that we got every time, only besides the Hot Views, which was very different. But the other one, we just get an island that looks differently with a mountain also. And what do we do over there? Again, 3 stars.
Lego.
Yeah, Lego, but then still, right? I mean, the Lego was right. I really like that island. Yeah. But then again, 3 stars did. The 3 races over that.
It's not so much the aesthetic; it's what you're actually doing there. It's not the aesthetics.
It's starting to grind. Let's say, even if it's a different location, it's really a grind because every time you do the same stuff. And I know it's a racing game. I know that, but. So I think Horizon is perfectly suited to do all kind of crazy stuff, even bungee jumping from the plane that you saw in the game, that big plane with all the colors. Go fucking bungee jump towards that fucking island. I do whatever, right? Be very creative. It's just a super red. I see it. Those Red Bull sports. They do all kind of crazy stuff. People make small cars. They go from a mountain, bust their brains on the tarmac because the car fell out of each other. It's all based on fun, let's say. And I think Horizon is a game that is car culture, but also based on doing all crazy fun stuff. And I think this lends perfectly for that. But yeah, let's see.
100%. I agree that it does.
I'm first.
Yeah, I think I completely agree. I think personally for me, this one, like we mentioned, this one wouldn't get away with it. Kind of mainly, I think it's because this one is still. I'm not going to use the cross-generational thing here, but they have improved quite a lot. It is the kind of double the size of Forza Horizon 4 in terms of the map size. They've obviously added far more customization. They've added a lot of stuff to the avatars. They have added more events. They've increased the editor for making races and making your own events and things like that. So they've added quite a bit to the game. Of course, everyone's still very much looking forward to it, very much excited for its release. But we also want to fairly criticize what we want in the game going forwards to push the game further. Without taking away from the feel of Horizon, because let's face it, Horizon, we all love it. We've loved it for the last 4 iterations. We're going to really enjoy this one. There's no doubt we're all going to have loads of fun in Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
But we still need to see them think up of ways to expand on this and really bring the car culture into it a bit more, as opposed to just have the festival culture, because the festival culture is cool, but you want to have that car culture ingrained a little bit more again. And I think with a few little add-ons, and again, we don't know what the DLC is going to be like we've said before, and what they could potentially add to the game in that. Of course, I don't know how they're going to add or what they're going to do for that, because with the UK, of course, you can then add into Europe, which is what they kind of try to do with the likes of Fortune Island and Lego, etc., is just do stuff a little bit differently. So like Fortune Island was like a little bit more like going to Norway. You've got the Northern Lights over this top and things like that. Lego is entirely different ball game altogether. But what could they do for these DLCs?
Mhm.
And what could they potentially add? Could they add more to do with car culture in there? Could they?
Yeah.
You never know.
Hey, but Drew, do you also have the feeling when I was first playing Horizon, I thought, man, I'm going to a festival and I'm gonna do something really crazy. But you come to the festival and it's very static, right?
Yeah.
You just go there to go to your garage. I'm not having the feeling that it's really, you hear music playing or whatever.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't really have the feeling that I'm in a festival. I miss something over there.
Yeah.
You know, they call it a
I know
festival,
what you
but
mean.
it's, you know, it's kind of blank.
Potentially, yes. Potentially,
Yeah,
and it sounds really strange doing like comparing this to Fortnite. But if you have a look at the way Fortnite do their big events with like acts, so they've got like big rappers doing these like random live events and things like that. Like they could with Forza Horizon being festival based, they could do these live events with like a DJ doing a set like on a specific day and just say, right, okay, this DJ is playing a live set on Forza Horizon. Get to this festival, and like he's playing at this time.
Yeah.
They could even promote like local talent from that country.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, like local DJs and things like that. Obviously, it's a festival, or local bands and things, depending on what.
Yeah.
If you want to go and see this local rock band do a live set on this stage over here, like go
Go
watch
with the
them.
character, you know, do all the crazy emotes, the dancing and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? In third person or first person. How cool would that be? I mean, look where we are now. We are talking half an hour also with Mr. Guys the South. Then you know you get very creative, right? Within a couple things. And they are making an open world, let's say a third party or what is it, first person action adventure. Maybe if you can have that, let's say that little bit of freedom of that part, but then combine it with call culture and the festival stuff, man, how cool would that be? Like you mentioned, like give the little small bands or the little DJs a platform to show on. How cool would that be? And also in Fortnite, do you know how massive that was with all the famous people coming to
The live event.
Man, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Erwin, like Brother Peter says, you know, HTK 360. What if you just make Forza, and you know you have Motorsport, Horizon, Formula One, NASCAR, Rally, everything separate. So like Shomberlon says, you have this hub, you know, and you can just play whatever the fuck you want.
No.
Would that be
A
an option?
Forza
for you?
World. A Forza
Yeah.
World, you mean? Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
freaking awesome. That
Forza
would be
World would
freaking
be.
awesome.
I think that could be another implementation on it. To be honest, because one thing I said on this as well before we went into it is I want to see also them potentially add like a decent racetrack into the game. So if you wanted to go and do like track racing in Horizon, you could go to like just literally drive to a racetrack and do a track race if you wanted to do that test.
Yeah.
Test out like a car for track racing, or if you want to go and do drifting, here's some drift roads over here. Or if you want to do some rally, here's a load of off-road roads over here.
Right.
Like have just like certain sections in there, and they've kind of started to implement little bits like that, but not like to a grandiose scale. And I think there's a lot of room for maneuver where they could potentially, I wouldn't say improve, but add to the game.
It's not improving because it's already here. It's already at the top. So you need to add, let's say, a little bit of variety then. Let's call it like that.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, by the way, Brother Peter. 49.
Yeah,
Woo!
49? Holy
49,
shit.
Brother Peter.
He's halfway down, man. He's halfway down.
Happy birthday.
Beta. Beta rijdt beta.
But yeah, I think that perfectly summarizes where we kind of all feel now. And it's like you say, it's not so much as it's getting stale, like Sean was saying. It isn't getting stale. It's the fact that we just want to see that little bit of extra, like add something else to it to really push it open a bit more.
You need some sauce.
Yeah, add some sauce. Just throw sauce all over it. Smother it in sauce.
But
I
if-
want
if there's-
billboards
if-
of Gaz's face with sauce on it, just that you can drive through.
Yeah,
Sauce
they're called sauce boards. Just sauce boards.
boards. There's
If there's
1,000
one-
scattered throughout the world.
1,000 sauce
If there's
boards.
one thing I'm gonna try in Forza Horizon 5 again, what I did also with the Forza Horizon 4, is trying to get all the achievements before they drop a DLC.
Ooh, that might be difficult because it's double the size of the map.
Yeah, I know, but you know I'm up for a challenge, so
Yeah, that's fair enough.
yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah, aim for it.
Oh yeah.
No, it looks. What I'm looking forward to it. And what I'm kind of missed out of 4 is they did have some good lengthy roads where you could really push your car to its limit, but this one has the longest stretches of roads in any Horizon game as well. So I'm looking forward to trying to getting these high speed like side by side races with people that you've got and just say, right, let's just see how this goes. Just go
And
hell for leather.
I hope also that because what you saw in Forza Horizon 4 with the speed traps or the speed zones is that people got ridiculous high speeds, like 1,000 miles per hour, and I hope that they can take that out, or
Cheaters.
like yeah, exactly, and just try to filter that out, that you actually have a challenge with your buddies or people around the world,
Yeah. But like
because that was kind of annoying.
It is the longest highway in any Forza game. It's the biggest mob of Forza Horizon from any game. So they improved on the current, let's say, basis. They improved massively in every regard, let's say. But then still, man, fuck it. Yeah, we need to have a creative session, and let's invite Mike Brown the next time.
Yeah,
but
just rattle off all of what ideas. But yeah, it's. I think it is right. It just needs, like you say, it's not that we want it can be improved on its fundamentals because it gets the fundamentals so right. Like everything about the fundamentals of the game is spot on. What we want to do is add more variety of things to do and things that expand on the current game. Like it's a festival game, so you could there's miles of different things you could do with the festivals. Again, you could have the live events with live musicians playing at certain times and make a big deal out of it. So put a big public post up saying, right, for instance, we've got Deadmau5 playing on this stage over here, go and watch him. Or we've got Galantis playing over here. Or we've got this rock band playing over here if you want to go and watch them for a bit. And like just make these big events out of it. And like a festival, like you said, because when you go to these festivals, nothing happens. Nothing happens.
I had really at the first game or the second game, I was like, okay, going to the festival. Let's see what happens. And then I'm driving around and I was like, what the fuck? Is something going to happen still? Or what is it? But it's just a matter where you go to your garage and then you can paint your car or buy cars or whatever, right? So I missed the whole festival feeling. While outside I saw the whole party, people dancing and all kind of crazy. I want to go as well, Let me have some fun in the festival.
You're too old. You're too old. You can't. You're too old.
Never too old for a party, Vin. Let's take a nice pill and let's go. But
like a hooislapper.
Sometimes I have the feeling, that you cannot be critical. Sometimes on such type of games, but I think it's good to be, or it's not even being critical.
Yeah.
It just you want to be creative, right? And I think that's never should be stopped. Creativity, never.
True. That's true.
Completely agree. We do transition nicely into our next topic, however. And the next topic is discussing actually another major positive for Xbox and obviously potentially looking to carry on this going into next year as well so far. But what we're looking at is obviously Xbox from a first party perspective had a relatively slow start to the year, let's say. Relied very heavily on third parties or timed exclusives or things like that just to get the show going. DLC for Gears 5, of course, Hivebusters, which was very well received. Of course, it was a really great expansion, but it wasn't a new game. So for the purposes of this, of course, Xbox have really kicked on at the second half of this first year for the console. And we could end up seeing Xbox as a platform and as a service really being the highlight of the consoles for this particular 2021 session. So when we look at both platforms combined, at the tail end of the year, we will have had Forza Horizon 5 potentially being critically acclaimed again. We've had Psychonauts 2 critically acclaimed. We've had Flight Sim critically acclaimed. We could have Age of Empires 4 critically acclaimed. We've got Deathloop on the PlayStation at the moment, which is critically acclaimed. And of course, Halo Infinite, from what we've played so far, could end up being kind of I'd still say mid-80s, 85 plus, but still a critically successful game as well, coming to the end of the first year of Xbox. So what has turned out to be a very slow start for Xbox could end up being probably one of their best starts to a generation for a very long time. Shom, what do you make of kind of the position that Xbox ended up of finding themselves in, and really potentially matching their promise of getting 4 first-party AAA titles out the door every year, and already doing that in 2021?
I don't really think saying finding themselves is really the correct thing. It's what they've positioned themselves into. They've seen the errors of the Xbox One, and I think it's just a case of it got to a point where they're just we're going to have to write this generation off. Let's start building a foundation for the next generation. Now, obviously, you get things like the Bethesda deal, which obviously nobody foresaw at that point. But I think that's what the whole point of Game Pass is. And I know people are getting excited about a new acquisitions and possibly a new what's it called? Can't think of the word now. Like a Warner Brothers or something like that.
Yeah.
Happening.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it wouldn't surprise me if it did happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't. I certainly think there'll be at least 5 more kind of studios joining the fold, whether that be a Warner Brothers with all their studios or 5 individual ones. But it's the way that they have to keep Game Pass going. And so it's a natural thing with Game Pass is what I think is caused this. It's in keeping, like you said, having the four AAA, or not even AAA, just first party a year. That feeds into the whole Game Pass and the whole point of it. If you're not feeding into that, people aren't going to be resubscribing. So they need to have this continuous thing going on. And so for this year, it was a little bit surprising. I didn't think this year was going to be overly great. I was looking forward to Halo. I was looking forward to, unfortunately, Deathloop. But then that got bought up. But I think what they do have is a little bit surprising. The games you listed off.
Yeah.
I actually expected Halo to be pushed into next year at one point. Even after they gave it the extra year, I kind of felt it was probably going to
still end up getting pushed out.
I thought it was going to be a February, March 22. But I'm glad it hasn't. Playing it the other day is
we
amazing.
all miss it, and we all miss it.
Yeah,
I know.
Like crazy.
Yeah, it's oh man.
I never missed a game like this so much, to be fair. I think about it almost every day, really. It's crazy. Yes.
It just made me more hyped for the single player.
Go for Aiden
as well.
Yeah, I agree. I literally can't wait to play that single player. But playing, like what playing the test flight has done for me as well, as you mentioned there, has alleviated my concerns of that being pushed. I think the state that I saw that multiplayer test flight in, and the way it was running, and the way it was handling, and the way it looked, I was like, right, there's no chance this game's going to get pushed now, surely. Like, this game looks beautiful. It plays beautifully. It runs well. Like, there's so little that needs to be fixed for it to when it comes out in terms of its actual performance, the way it feels, the way it plays, the way it looks, that there is no way that this game's getting pushed now. I think that's one of the things I took away from it as well, was, right, this has alleviated a lot of my concerns about the game.
Yeah, especially if you play the Battlefield beta after, right? A week later. How shitty that was. Fucking hell, then Halo is in such a better state. And people are then concerned about Halo. Well, I'm totally not anymore.
Komt er nog more?
But yeah, I mean, it is like you say, it's a weird state that it's not that they find, like you say, not to find themselves in, but ending up actually hitting that mark first time around. When people said, when Phil Spencer said that my aim is to release at least 3 to 4 first-party AAA titles every year, we expected that to be a little bit further down the line. And obviously, Psychonauts 2 is multi-plat this time around, but it's still a first-party game. That first-party game it performed so much better than expected. And I think it was far above anybody else's expectations as well. Like, people were thinking, yes, Psychonauts 2 will be cool. Like, it'll, like, people wanted it, etc. And then it come out and everyone played it and everyone was like, this is such a good game. Like, really didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And again, Tim Schafer kind of attested that to being part of Xbox and Microsoft and said, if it wasn't for the fact that they purchased us, this game wouldn't have been what it is now. So you have to attribute that to Xbox's involvement, because again, without them, it wouldn't have released in the state that it was, if at all. And then you've got, like I say, Age of Empires 4. You can't downplay that. Of course, it's PC only. You can't downplay that. That game's going to be massive on PC. Age of Empires is huge. That's going to really perform well. That is probably going to get critically acclaimed. Flight Sim, of course, was just phenomenal in terms of its just grandiose scale, the quality of the graphics, what you could do in that game, everything that they put into that game. Getting it running on console in the first place was a minor miracle. Of course, then you've got, like I say, this isn't even including kind of the indie titles that they've put out as well. But then you've got Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite tailing off the year. It's just such a turnaround from the beginning of the year when we were focusing on Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk and the Medium and playing Gears again and playing Halo the Master Chief Collection and play kind of anything other than first party titles, or going back and still playing Forza Horizon 4 like 3 years after launch, and it's just such a turnaround.
But the only thing that's missing at the moment is deals, for their first-party IPs, that's usually being developed by third-party studios, like Alan Wake was Xbox exclusive, made by Remedy, and we had Quantum Break, which was a really great game on the Xbox One, but there's not anything new, like the IPs, Rise Son of Rome, Quantum Break, Lost Odyssey, you name them. That's the only thing that's missing, right? The deals for the IPs. I mean, it's great they bought Bethesda and stuff, but I am missing, a couple, IPs. There should be more diversity in the type of games. It's a lot of first person, a lot of shooters. I mean, I love them. Don't get me wrong, but Rise Son of Rome is a great game. Quantum Break is a great story game. Remedy are the masters of storytelling. Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I'm missing right now, that Xbox is doing something with those IPs at external studios. That's the only thing I'm missing. I mean, of course, Psychonauts 2 is, for me, Game of the Year this year. Halo Infinite, Forza will be great. Of course they will be. But, give me more diversity, by bringing those IPs back. Mm-hmm. Bring me a Rise Son of Rome. Bring me Quantum Break. They have so much potential, Killer Instinct, Banjo-Kazooie, you name them. There should be third-party studios working on those games as well. I mean, Delilah Studios, the people who were guests on the show, they made Battletoads, but what are they doing?
I know they're making something else right now, but they're not ready to talk about it.
Probably there are a lot of games that are unannounced as well, Vin. Which we don't know of, and maybe they are working on that as well. But I agree. I want to see games like Rise also. They had so much potential, and I hope that they don't just drop them, because sometimes people would like to see such great games come back. even if it sold like Ratchet and Clank sales, because everybody says it was a flop, but it sold quite okay for a launch game, especially on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I think relatively seen, a lot of people played it back then. But did you to come back to the Halo stuff also with the Master Chief Collection? Did you saw the latest trailer on fucking YouTube?
Yes,
Holy fuck sakes! Did you saw? Man, it was some crazy fucking shit. I'm going to download or I already have the Master Chief Collection.
Yes,
but I saw also you can find now collectibles again, Finn, in Halo 3.
Yeah.
So we should go back with Salt Prince says.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, we should have helped Petje as well, right? He never played Halo as well, so we can carry the Potland as well through the Halo.
I sent him an invite and he ignored me.
Who?
Yeah, but I was. Hey, but listen, that was Saturday and I was on a podcast, so.
I know.
Podcast. But no, but it's season 8. It's season 8. I saw, and it's the support of that game is crazy, and the skins that they have. I almost wanted to buy those fucking skins while I don't play Master Chief Collection almost at all. But after
for you,
sorry,
they added the crossplay ability. You can put PC players out.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's good. But that's a good sign for Halo Infinite as well, though.
Yes, but you know, I miss Halo so much, the Infinite, that I am thinking about. I really want to go back to the other ones now. Also Halo 5 multiplayer, just also enter practice, but also to come back to what I enjoyed so much, because like I said, I think about it fucking almost every day. It's insane. And also, you know, let's because you have the big team battle stuff as well, right? In Halo 5.
Yeah.
Fuck it, man. Then we can have enormous fun with all the party people that we are. We can have my motivational speech at the beginning of the match. Let's freaking go!
Grab anus!
Yeah, it's amazing, man. But I love that freaking game, and I never thought it. I was, let's say, expecting nothing, and it blew me out of the fucking water. And I think about it every day. It's insane. Oh.
So what do you make then of where Xbox find themselves in on that particular topic, having so many potentially critical IPs already in the first year of launch after having such a slow start?
Yeah, but look at where we come from, Drew. Go back to 2017, mate.
Yeah.
Or 2016 and 18 and whatever. Every time we had those fucking damn E3 shows where the hype was created by everybody, also by Xbox itself, and then the show was ended and it was like wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
And every year wah, 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 wah. And you know, we're getting ridiculed by those fucking ponies as well on the internet and whatnot. You know, those bloody ponies. But that aside, I really like that they do something with the feedback that we gave. And you don't see so many companies doing that. We wanted to have more studios. We wanted to have more titles. We want to have more quality titles that also score good. Man, they tick almost every freaking box. So they are really on the right track to be very successful as a company. But I just want to have fun. I want to have value for money, and that's what they're offering me. Basta.
Yeah. Shom, I know you were still saying something as well there. I think I interrupted you. But it was with regards, of course, kind of along the lines of when you were mentioning Halo and kind of the other titles there, and adding more studios and things like that. But what are your kind of overall thoughts on how kind of Xbox has really ended up hitting that mark first year? And then, of course, next year we've started to see more information. Of course, the last couple of days on Avowed and just how good that looks so far. Even Globrills kind of started mentioning, listen, I can back up what Jez Gordon's saying, and I've actually seen pre-alpha gameplay of Avowed, and it looks like all the spells that you've seen in the trailer where he's waving his hand and things like that is in the game. And the gameplay looks fantastic, and the world and its grandiose scale looks really great so far. But just how they're really setting themselves up for a great generation at the tail end of its first year. How do you find that, Shom?
I mean, yeah, I think it's good to see an aggressive Microsoft. And I know people have complained the whole Microsoft that's too nicey, pally, want to be friends with everybody. And I want to see a more ruthless Microsoft. because you see the competition, they don't give two craps. If they're going to go, well, we want that game, they'll put money on the table and they'll take that game rather than this whole kind of like, well, we don't like to take content away from people. It's just like, well, if you don't, your competition will. So it's good to see that although they're not taking the content away in terms of like a Tomb Raider, they're getting around that by saying, well, PlayStation can still have that content, but they're going to have to pay for it, whereas our customers, they'll get it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So it's good to see a bit more of an aggressive streak in them. But I also don't want it to get to the point where it's anti-consumer. I don't want them to tip that over to that side. And I think it's good for PlayStation owners to see Microsoft coming out so strong, because PlayStation will step up. I can't see PlayStation shying away. PlayStation will do something that will benefit their customers, and they'll make people want to go over to them. So it's a win-win for everybody.
I completely agree. It's a massive win-win. Like we say, competition breeds competition. Like if one of them steps up, the other one does. And as you mentioned, they're being aggressive. People were complaining when Xbox weren't aggressive, and then as soon as they start getting aggressive, then people start complaining that they're being too aggressive. Like you can't win, you can't like for winning's sake, but they needed to. And they are stepping up. They are being more aggressive. They are starting to do things a little bit harsher. They're saying, right, okay, well, we need to expand on this, so we're going to do it. Like, there's no ifs and buts. We're not going to shy away from it. If we need more studios, we'll go and buy more studios, which is what they needed to do to fix some of the holes in their portfolio in terms of their offerings going forward. They are the home of the Western RPG now. Of course, there's still, I think there was a poll up on Windows Central as well. What other genres do you think Microsoft are still missing that could be plugged? And I mentioned JRPG, because Xbox still don't have their own JRPGs. They did, of course, as we know, with the likes of Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, that they could kind of bring back. And I think they still will do. Like they mentioned as well during Tokyo Game Show, they're partnering with 200 Japanese indie developers to bring titles to Xbox, which is massive for them. That's a really big investment into the Japanese market. Saying we're partnering with 200 studios, which is insane.
I'd say they still need to fill that kind of the Last of Us, the Uncharted thing, but I got a feeling that Hellblade 2 is going to do that. I think Hellblade 2 is going to fill that void of having a mature story game. I mean, you could even argue maybe even Fable, depending on how. I think Fable will still be Fable, but I think it might be a little bit of a darker version.
I was going to say Fable was never. It was a game that everyone could play, but it had its very dark tones. Especially its dark undertones. Like, you know what I mean? Like the actual story undertones were dark, and I think depending on how Playground go about it, still retain that sense of humor that the games had in them and the silliness. But they could take that down a little bit of a darker, more adult route as well, and still retain its Fable feel. But again, as Erwin mentioned before, there's a lot of IPs that we don't know of yet that are still under development. We could potentially see one of these kind of third-person action adventure games. We still don't really know too much about Contraband and what that does. We know it's a co-op, open world, kind of adventure-y type game, but we don't know what it consists of or much about it. Pat, what do you? I mean, how do you feel about the kind of tail end of this first year for Series X? And obviously, you, I know you were one of the last ones to get your Series X after launch, but obviously very happy to be able to get a Series X in the launch window at all anyway, because I know you, the tail end of last generation, you got the One X very late on. So you got late on that one, but having a Series X in launch window, and then seeing kind of the tail end of this year really start to pick up for Xbox. How do you feel about that? And obviously them going forward, does it give you confidence that you can expect to see even more great things for them?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Erwin said, if you look at the last few years, it was kind of disappointing. Like we were really hyped on what was coming, but they didn't deliver it. And seeing what they this year, it also didn't start pretty good. But if you see now what we have and what's coming for the next couple of months, yeah, and also what Shom says, they are pretty aggressive at this moment, and I like it. I cannot wait. There are so many great games coming out, and yeah, it's. I think Microsoft is doing a good thing at this moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, most definitely. Vin,
For sure.
do you like obviously the tail end? Same question kind of applies to you, but obviously Microsoft being very aggressive towards the end of this generation, getting a lot of things done, getting a lot of things right, but also I think surprising a few people with just now eventually not only bringing out games because they've brought out a lot of first-party IPs in the past, but we've never always hit the mark. They seem to be hitting their stride now, and obviously we've seen that with the specifically, and I'll keep mentioning this, but Psychonauts 2 really did take a lot of people by surprise with its quality. But also just the story that was involved in it. It plugged the gap that Xbox had for a long time, and that was that platformer, that nice like adventure-y, story-driven single-player platformer that we hadn't had for a lot of years. That had been now filled and with such quality. Obviously, just seeing that and using that as a benchmark going forwards, having that kind of talent in Xbox, what are your hopes going forward, and how does that make you feel?
Well, for me, it's just more competition is good, and that's the thing. Xbox One, last generation was smashed. Let's be honest, by PlayStation.
Yep.
And they made the wrong approach, and they're fixing it now. It's good for us. Let's be honest. Gamepass is cheap for what it delivers, but if you make it too expensive, people won't buy it. And so we are having benefits now because of the loss of last gen, and Microsoft is doing that really good. And competition is good. Nintendo has their own thing, but we're competing. Xbox is competing with PlayStation. And it's not like I want PlayStation to lose, but I want the battle to be a bit equal.
Yeah.
So they both have to do everything to keep up.
100%.
PlayStation is now. They have a couple of games. I really want PlayStation 5 if Forspoken comes out. That's a game that I really want to play. But but they have to bring more as well, and that's the same. That's the same with Microsoft. I mean, they're playing it good now, but still too safe for me. I think they should bring more IPs back or more new IPs, to the scenery, but we're going in the right direction. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think what I've heard anyway from discussions is Microsoft are really trying to find the right studios to take over certain IPs, and that is the only difficulty they have with certain ones. Of course, a lot of the IPs, like Mistwalker, who did Lost Odyssey. Obviously, Mistwalker themselves as a studio kind of evaporated, and I'm sure they're now part of. Did they go to Stadia or something? Apple. So,
yeah, Apple. Yeah.
Of course, to be able to do that, they need to find the right studio to take over the Lost Odyssey IP. Of course, it is theirs, so they can use it. But it's finding the right studio, and I think that's the only thing they're going to have with them. Of course, Crytek, and Rise, I think, is a given. They really just need to make that deal. Right, okay, guys, get it done. We'll part fund it or fund it, whatever it is. It's obviously a fan favorite. We need to bring it back. It could be that that's something that is potentially in the works already, and we just don't know of it.
Maybe, but Sony is doing a really great job, like with Square Enix, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It's Square Enix is still it's not Sony or whatever. It's still independent. How you say that?
Yeah.
But So Sony has great deals. Final Fantasy 7 remake. Now you have Forspoken coming. Final Fantasy 16. They're all like 1 or 2 year exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it's the same. What was said at the start of the show. At some point, the hype is gone. You can still bring it to Xbox, or PC, or Nintendo, or whatever. But the hype is gone. And I think Microsoft should do more. You don't have to buy the entire studio, but just say like Crytek. Yes, 20 million. Go make Rise 2. Do it now. You have Lost Odyssey. You have Blue Dragon. You have Sudeki. Sega is a giant studio. It's pretty impossible to take over. You can't buy it. So it's obvious.
So what you'd like to
you can make a deal.
I was going to say you'd like to see Microsoft partner with more studios as opposed to just buying them. So you want a bit like they've done with Avalanche. Of course, they partnered for Contraband.
Avalanche?
Avalanche Studios. Yeah. So they've partnered with Avalanche. And Xbox Game Studios Publishing have partnered with them to create Contraband. So, I would agree with you on that sense. Not necessarily buying loads of more studios, but certainly partner up with a load of more and just saying, right, okay, well, we'll have make this exclusive game with this second or third party studio to make this game for our platform, such as Rise 2. Like, we don't want to buy Crytek or Crysis or CryEngine or anything like that, but we do want to have Rise 2, so we'll partner with them and help them fund that development and get it onto the Xbox ecosystem.
It's the same with Asobo. Asobo doesn't want to be bought.
Yeah.
But they have a great deal with Flight Simulator. You don't have to buy the studio to be, to get it. Yeah. It's the same with Sega. You don't have to buy Sega, but you can make a deal for like Skies of Arcadia or Shining Force. They have great IPs, Jet Set Radio, you name them.
Yeah.
And
we can lock them down into a multi-game contract to start.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to buy the studio. If a company doesn't want to be bought, it's fair to me as well. But you there are great IPs. Even Microsoft has them in their own portfolio. You have Sudeki, you have Mechasol, you have Midtown Madness. You name it. But they can be brought to other studios. Here's some money, go make it, because we don't have the people now to make it, or the studio are working on other things, but we still want a game for this. We need to expand more, we need JRPG, we need more action adventure games. You don't have to buy the studio for it. You go to Capcom, here's some money, go make, Scalebound, I don't care. But, do it. We have the IPs.
Or even just partner for new IPs, come up with something, or expand on the universe, just something to kind of expand without just having
Look what's in the vault, as they say, in the vault there the IPs Microsoft has. Come on.
Yeah, that's fine. That's understandable. Well, tonight has been awesome. It's been amazing kind of talking a lot of in-depth stuff about Forza Horizon, where we want that to, obviously very excited for Forza Horizon 5 releasing next month, but also where we want to see that kind of expand on in its future and how it can potentially be added upon. We won't use the word improve because, like we mentioned previously, the fundamentals of that game are pretty much nailed on. They've got the graphics down, they've got the driving down, they've got the gameplay down. We just want a little bit extra to elaborate on the racing kind of fundamentals, the festival feels and the car culture, some of the basics, just to elaborate on that, because that is Horizon after all. Of course, we've discussed Jim Ryan's PlayStation strategy, of course, and what that means for PlayStation going forward. It's been an awesome show. Of course, what I will do afterwards is put down the bookmarks of when we've discussed these particular topics, and you can go to them. I'll also put a bookmark in to where you can directly zoom into the new screenshots provided graciously by Don Juan Song. And very much a huge thank you to him as well for providing those exclusive unseen screenshots of the game, and of course that quote surrounding his impressions of the game so far. But we will get to our outros, but before we do that, please, if you haven't already, drop a like, share this out, and subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it helps us massively. Thank you to everybody who's joined us in chat tonight. It's been really great seeing everybody in there. Of course, Pong as usual, J-Con, Stuffed Sean, Fleety Snake, Muppet, the usuals. Gaz,
Muppet,
of course, joined us. Doom Reaper.
Australians do it.
Yeah, Australian Stew.
Australian Stew, aye.
Sante, Shizno Elite, Pinky of Legend, Quasim, HTK, among many others, Sean Labrie, of course, Marion the Mad. The list
Stuff
is
is gone. Fleety Snake.
Yeah, thank you to everybody for coming along this evening to another episode of Midweek Mix-Up. We will get to our outros now. Shomberlon, brother, first and foremost, let people know what you've got coming up and where they can find you.
You can find me on Shomberlon on Twitter and on Xbox. What I've got coming up, probably killing zombies. That's probably about it.
Awesome stuff. Forza Erwin.
Yes.
Let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, they can find me on Forza Erwin and racing from home on YouTube. As I mentioned before, my laptop is still broken, so won't be uploading any videos. Planning to do some streaming soon on Twitch again, I think, when I'm on Xbox and when I'm on my PlayStation, when I'm playing GT Sport, and I will maybe do a YouTube stream as well. But for the short term, I will be playing Forza Motorsport maybe still a little bit to see if I can get hang. But I really want to go back to the Halo Master Chief Collection this weekend. So if somebody's
I've just downloaded it as well myself.
Oh,
again.
awesome! Yeah, so
yeah,
for the
let's go for it.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's installed.
Yeah. So if we can have some big team battles or forge modes or whatever, right? Just get back in and let's get that feeling back that we had on Halo Infinite, because that was freaking awesome. So I love that, and it was great being on the show and see all the great enthusiastic people in the chat again. I think we had some good discussions, even about my favorite franchise. In gaming, so love that, guys. And I'll see you on the next one.
Awesome. Patcher. Let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up, and potentially if you're streaming this week, when you're going to be streaming.
Well, you guys can find me on Twitter, of course. Same counts for Twitch. Unfortunately, I couldn't stream yesterday because the Twitch app on the Xbox didn't work. I hope can fix it, but definitely, I'm not sure yet, but probably gonna stream tomorrow and this weekend, of course. Gonna hop on some Back 4 Blood, probably with Shom, if he's up for that. And
a little bit presumptuous.
Yeah, like Erwin said, let's play some Halo Master Chief Collection, man.
Definitely.
I'm up for that. So yeah, let's go for it. Hey. And by the way, this weekend, I think this weekend I got a visitor, so I'm good with. Let's see how it goes.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Nice. Vin. I feel
Vinny,
where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
You can find me basically anywhere as Hertog Vin X. On Twitch, Twitter, PlayStation, OnlyFans, I don't care, Pornhub, whatever you want, YouPorn. You can find, I'm gonna play Last of Us 2, continue it tomorrow on my Twitter, on my Twitch. Sorry, Pong Soul, it's so far it's great. So
how far are you in?
After they, gonna smoke the weed. And then they're gonna make out, the two girls, Ellie and Gina.
Okay, so you already had
back to Abby, the muscle woman.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're already that far? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's like 3 hours in, I think.
No, a little bit more, right? A little bit more, I think.
No, I did only one stream, so it's like 2.5, 3 hours in. Is that
okay?
And what is your impression so far?
Well, the story is great, but that's from 1 as well. Last of Us has great story, but I really dislike the aiming and the AI in 1. You know,
Mhm. Yeah,
with the
one.
gun.
Yeah,
Yeah, it won. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck this game, man. This is, I like the story, but gameplay wise, it's shit. But they fixed it in 2, so I don't get why. If you remaster the game, just put the aiming from 2 inside 1. I don't get it. But they only did the graphics. They should have done the controls like 2 as well, I think. But that's my point of view.
The gameplay on the guns is so good, eh? They have so much punch as well. The
Yeah,
animation
in
also
2,
when they.
in 2, yeah. In 1,
Fucking hell, man.
it
It's
won
great.
its shit.
Yeah.
I really like it in 2.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play Super Monkey Ball because that game is a lot of fun. It's it's crazy, and of course some FIFA. Sorry, Boxenberger. And I want to do a special. I want to do a special shout out because this Friday, UK Desirous is doing his charity stream for the Stroke Foundation.
Yep.
He's aiming for £500 or quid or how you say that in the UK. So please go check him out this Friday because it's we all know Des and
you hardly can understand him.
Yeah, but more than it's over a year now, and if you see what he posted, yesterday with his arm, that he still can't stretch it fully, it's crazy. So please go check him out, and I will put the link in the chat, by the way. So please go check him out this Friday and support him. So it's a great charity, and Des is a really nice guy, so you can't understand him, but he's really nice.
Yeah, we don't have a clue what he's saying, but he's a good guy. Yeah,
no, he's a really good guy. So please go support him.
Awesome
and
stuff.
And we're gonna play some more FIFA. That's about it, I think.
Nice.
So what are you gonna play, Drew?
Probably a little bit of Master Chief Collection. Again, like I say, I've just reinstalled it. Play some more Back 4 Blood. And I'm still mopping up the final achievements in Psychonauts 2 as well, because I want to get that finished, I think. I enjoyed it so much, I think the game deserves it as well. Having a 100%, and to be honest, it's not difficult. Like now it's just collectibles. So it's just going around and mopping up the collectibles. And I do like one brain area at a time. So like I'll jump on, I'll finish one brain area, and I'll jump out and then save the game and leave it. And then come back and then do another one another day. So yeah, I'll probably try and mop up a little bit more of that. Play some Master Chief Collection. Play some Back 4 Blood, and I think that's about it for me. I wanted to jump back in Forza Horizon 4, but I'm just going to wait out now until Forza Horizon 5. But yeah, other than that, you can find me in the usual places on Twitter at WandrinDutch, and of course here at WandrinDutch. And again, we'll be back next week for another episode of Midweek Mix-Up. I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to be streaming any gameplay this weekend. I haven't decided yet, but I might. But yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you again to everybody for tuning in. I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope the rest of the week flies for you and you have a great weekend playing some games. Until the next time, though, we will see you all later, and goodbye.
Goodbye,
adios,
Professor Dutch.
amigos.
Bye, Professor Dutch.
Ciao.
Professor Dutch.